Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Ninja Q&A. We're part of the Ninja team. The rest of them couldn't make it, unfortunately. Let's introduce ourselves. So I'm Mod Timbo, if you don't know who I am. We have...
Mod Maylea.
Mod Labcoat.
Mod Fiddly.
I'm Mod Harrison.
I'm Mod Poerkie.
So what we want to do today, obviously, get your Q&A questions to us. Just want to give a bit of an introduction. So if you don't know what the Ninja team is, what rock have you been living under, really, for the last couple of years. So the Ninja team, we focus on quality of life fixes, getting your quick fix suggestions into game. We operate very quickly, so we meet every Monday to discuss your Ninja fixes that have come over the weekend, over the last week. We go through them. We sort of say how quick they are to fix. If it takes too much time, we sort of pass them on to a different team, or they get into a different backlog. But what we do is, if they're very quick and they're very impactful to you guys, so if we can get them done very quickly, and there's something you guys really, really wanted, so it's either highly voted on Reddit, or we see it a lot on the forums, or we see it a lot on Discord, or we see it a lot on social media, we try and get that fixed. And that's what we tend to do. For this, yeah, that's what we do all day. Well, not me, but these guys. So what we want to do is, you can give us questions, you can give us Ninja suggestions if you want, but I'd highly recommend that you stick around afterwards. Mod Harrison has the laptop.
The Ninja laptop.
The Ninja laptop, where we will note down your suggestions. And Monday, when we get back from RuneFest, we'll go through them all. And hopefully, you may see some of them in the upcoming weeks. But to start with, does anyone have any questions?
Someone has to be the first.
Not
Anything at all?
Not all at the
We
same
do
time.
have pre-prepared questions in case no one has anything.
There we go.
Wait until somebody gets you.
There'll be a microphone.
Yes. Do you think there should be more quality of life updates instead of new content?
That is a very good question. We do some patch weeks and some Ninja weeks. And if you notice in those weeks, we do a lot more Ninja fixes than we normally would. We know that quality of life is really important to you guys, and we're lucky because some of the Ninja fixes are the most well-received updates we do in a week. I do think we could probably do some more, but it's not entirely up to us. It's up to the quality of the suggestions. It's up to what releases we need to go out. It's up to those sorts of things. So maybe, but I think we do a lot of Ninja fixes every month. We do up to 50 Ninja fixes a month. So hopefully.
Yeah, you're doing great work. So
thank you very much. I don't want to pat myself on the back too much. Oh, someone is literally patting me on the back. Any more questions?
Hi. So Mutated Barge is a very good ability, but it's very, very buggy. It doesn't work on bosses like Yakimaru, and it doesn't give you adrenaline if you use it as your first ability. And there's a glitch if you click on the ground, and it pretty much works the way it shouldn't. Are you planning on fixing this? And it's also a part of a wider bug. If you don't auto-attack, you don't get adrenaline. Can this be addressed?
So first of all, I would suggest sending a bug report. Contrary to popular belief, we do actually read through them all as a QA team. We'll go through them all and make sure, if it seems like it's not being actioned or anything, it might just be a case of it wasn't very clear, or a lower sort of minority affecting bug. As Phil mentioned about adrenaline not generating on the first ability, we know about that one. It's definitely on something to fix because you're right, it's an inconvenience, right? Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question.
Maybe. Any more questions? Shall I choose from the list?
Ask anything.
But how we pick Ninja fixes?
I
how we
opened
fix
anything.
Them? Yeah. Oh, there we go.
What do you think is the best and worst received Ninja update that you've worked on, and what do you personally consider to be your favorite one?
Ninja updates?
Yeah, what's your best and worst?
Best was Tears of Gothic changes. I really wanted to get rid of that delay, and I'm happy that it's gone. Worst things that I've had to work on, I'm not even naming them. This every time I get into a piece of code, it's there's some maintenance to be done, so they tend to balloon a bit.
The game is 17 years old, let's point that out.
And you realize it if you see the code, it's fine.
So I'm actually a fairly recent addition to the team, but I think my best received update was Ninja Fix. Okay. And that's all I do, so I'm like, oh yes, my little mini update. Probably, having talked to some players here, probably like quality of life wise, just the Grand Exchange updates. I did like 4 or 5 like changes to it. That was pretty good. Worst received in terms of like most people that annoyed was probably the feather packs. Like, like loads of people liked it, especially Iron Man. But then there was a few people where, because the price kind of plummeted, feathers were not too happy with it. But
what were they expecting?
Well, just don't invest all your money in feathers. Yeah.
Blimey. My best ninja fix, God, I don't know. My best one is probably making it so luck rings tell you what you got dropped instead of it just shining brightly. I did the luck rework, so it's kind of a bit selfish for me, maybe. But the ninja fix was, it now shows you what you got and what quantity you got, which I thought was really cool. My worst ninja fix, removing trees, maybe.
That's good. That's good.
I think removing the West Rock tree, so people couldn't do their Jack of Trades runs anymore, was pretty funny. And maybe my worst ninja fix.
Well, I don't fix itself, but I usually pass on the things that we start to fix and push a little bit on that we start working on those. And the one that I enjoyed doing the most was the Death Touch Dart changes to Claudia and Megaduck, which was pretty well received, I think. Less Megaducks die now. Always a good thing. But because I only usually pass things forward, I don't have a negative one, really.
Best one's probably the action bar switching thing that I did, where you change whatever style the bar is, or the weapon is, sorry, and it changes the bar for you. Worst one, don't actually know, I haven't prepared for that. Maybe if I think of it later, I'll get back to it. But yeah, it's hard to think of a worst one when it's something that a lot of players are asking for.
Any more?
So I know that the email is the main security of most accounts, because obviously once email's hacked, then they can reset the authenticator. But have you considered putting a reset delay on the authenticator that could be enabled like the bank, just on a user end? So like if we wanted to say if I wanted to put a 7-day delay on my authenticator reset, would that be something you could consider adding, or not really?
It's potentially. I'm not entirely sure. A lot of authentication stuff is done on like web modules as opposed to in-game content. It's definitely not something that we would ignore. Security is obviously important to people. So yeah, something we can look to try and work with the web team about.
Cheers.
Any more?
Are there any plans to give the new interface system to give that just a recolor option, because some items and some text is very hard to see on the current dark blue theme? So it's like wondering if we could maybe like, I don't know, recolor it to green or purple or whatever we want. Just basically if it's able to swap the color of the interface without having to switch to the legacy skin.
I don't think we've got plans to just change the color of the text. We are putting it so that all interfaces can easily change from the new system to the legacy system, because there's quite a few interfaces out there which still don't change color. We're still going through them. But presumably once we've got all of the interfaces done, we might consider doing several skins. But that would be distant future.
We can add to that Mod Edge, who isn't here, does like his interfaces very much as well. And every now and then, secretly, he will change the color of the text, usually to more white, so it is indeed like more contrast. So we do like these changes. We make them every now and then, but it's not like if we come across it, we'll do it usually. But we don't have a specific focus on it
Yeah, I think specific examples would be useful if you post on the forums or on Reddit or something at a later date. And there are specific examples of certain interfaces. We can definitely look at those in general.
Yeah, if you have a ninja fix that will happen in one of those interfaces that doesn't change, it will get changed with the ninja fix.
Thank you. 4 more.
So just on the visibility, I'm slightly colorblind, so Telos P5 is actually very difficult for me to see which color virus I get. Would it be possible to add some sort of other visual indicator, just like a text saying red virus or yellow virus? I don't know if it's yellow or green because I'm colorblind, but some sort of other indicator so we know what to look for.
I think we actually already changed that, but
Yeah, I think
maybe not such a way that you actually can see it. So
yeah, we have 2 colorblind people in the office, so it's hard to get their full attention sometimes because one's working on mobile. But yeah, I think there's definitely an option on the entrance to try and go into colorblind mode. Give that a go by all means. If it's not what you'd expect, let me know. We can try and look into making that a bit better.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any more? Ooh.
There we go.
Could you go into more detail about the whole process from ID received by Reddit, for example, until the fixes in the live game? And also highlight the places where you really slow down, I suppose. Like the spaghetti goat code is one thing we hear a lot. Or maybe there are some more things, I don't know.
Okay. So we use a spreadsheet, and we document all of the ninja fixes.
you can see the spreadsheet.
This
is the spreadsheet.
That is the actual ninja spreadsheet. And this is available to the ninja team and to all Jagged staff. And they can put a ninja suggestion.
There's stuff on there. I pressed the wrong button.
Good job.
Sure. There you go. Look, page up. There's lots of things.
Hopefully the camera doesn't pick up on that.
Do not zoom in.
So yeah, we have the ninja fix spreadsheet, which we have access to, and so do Jagged staff. They can put a suggestion down from wherever they find it. So they can be their own suggestions, they can be play suggestions, they can be Reddit suggestions. And when we come to review on a Monday, so a lot of people, if you tweet at a JMod about a ninja fix, they will normally put it down on the spreadsheet. Normally, I can't trust everyone. They will put it on the spreadsheet, and when we meet on a Monday, we will go through each individual suggestion and see different things about it. So the feasibility of it, can we literally do it? Like, is it even, like, can we do it ourselves? Do players want it? Do we see this coming up quite a lot? Is it something that's quick to fix? And if it has come from like Reddit, forums, Twitter, we will check to see the popularity of that as well. Especially on Reddit, obviously there's an upvote system. We see a percentage of upvotes, how many upvotes it has. On the forums, we can see if it's like, oh, I agree, or bump, or if people bump it and stuff, how many replies it has. Or on like Discord or Twitter, we see how many agree with it, or likes and retweets. Popularity isn't everything. Obviously, there is a lot of popular ninja fixes, like just give us more XP, which we won't do, contrary to popular belief. And then once we personally prove it as a ninja team, that ninja fix will then sort of go into our documenting system. If our team cannot do that ninja fix, we are very unlikely to do it. So if it's graphical, if it's engine, if it's website, like we are very, very unlikely to do it. We are all content developers. Well, he's not. We are content developers, QA, community management. If we can fix it, we will fix it. But if it's outside of our team, it's very unlikely to get fixed by us. As I said, we'll pass it on to those guys, but it's very unlikely to get ninja fixed. And that's the process, essentially. And then once we go into the week, we'll prioritize what work we're working on. So we'll go through the ninja fixes we've approved, go through which ones we think we should work on first, which ones are quick, which ones are impactful, which ones are players really want. And then these lovely people will develop them, Harrison will QA them, and then they go out. Where that process bogs down is if we do require another team, or if it is or after investigation it is much larger than we expect it to be. So some ninja fixes sound really easy to do to you guys, and we don't blame you at all. But like once we investigate it and we see the code, it's like, oh, actually this is going to take us 4 weeks to do a ninja fix. And it's like, that's a crazy amount of time, really. Should we spend 4 weeks doing a ninja fix? Well, if it's really impactful or if it's like really useful to do, yeah, we'll push on and we'll take one of these guys' time and they'll spend 4 weeks doing it. But it has to be very, very top priority for us to do so. And that's where the process can bog down. If we have ninja fixes take over like 3 to 4 weeks, they'll go back down the priority list. We'll come back to the meeting again on Monday and say, okay, what work are we going to do this week? And we go there and say, oh yeah, it's that one. Do we do that? Do we push it up? Do we push it down? I'm just explaining the entire process. Hopefully that was useful to people who are watching.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning, like, code gets mentioned a whole lot among players, among us. There's a whole other sort of like process for a lot of things as well. Like, does it really fit the game? Like, was it going to affect like game lore? Is it balanced? Like a lot of things that we could just be like, oh yeah, that'd be cool for the game. It's like, is it going to ruin some other kind of like method to the game? It has to go through like various sorts of like people. Timbo, most of the time, is like, is this actually like acceptable? Because we look at something and in the moment we're like, yeah, that's really actually good. But it takes like an outsider perspective. Just be like, actually, that's probably very bad. So yeah, there's definitely a lot more to it.
Thank you, by the way.
So as a con exclusive, can you read a few lines off of that spreadsheet for us? Come on, be a pal.
A suggestion. Give us some approved ninja fixes.
Do you want some approved?
That doesn't mean that they're going to come out next week. I want right now.
Yeah, no promises. Yeah. So one that was fairly recent was making like making the keybind or adding an A keybind for the confirm destroy interface, because it's YN for yes no, or there's just A missing at the moment. That was pretty popular on Reddit, so that's a yes. It's a long list. I'm trying to find some impressive looking ones.
Well, that's the thing, is like most of our updates are not impressive, but every little helps.
Well,
they're just little things. It's like, oh yeah, you've just made it so the highlighting on the action bar works properly.
We're not sponsored by Tesco's, by the way.
But actually, it does help. When your keybinds are back, it helps.
Like there's another one for like trading raffle prizes. So like the golden stuff, being able to trade those 1-to-1, like you could with like sort of those treasure hunter outfits, I believe it is. So that's something we're trying to look into.
Yeah, it's all gone.
Yeah, just a little.
Control A.
Yeah, do you want to talk about social Slayer?
All right, there is one on there. It's already a while in the thing, so it sometimes can take a month or longer before something gets done. But one of the things is social Slayer. I am relatively new to RuneScape, you could sometimes say. I've got like 6-7 months experience with it now. So I don't have a lot of knowledge. And at some point I was doing Slayer and I tried to group up with a friend. And you need your gemstone and you need them both, but you can't trade them. So it's very hard to make a party. And I know apparently I'm not even supposed to do social Slayer because it's not really beneficial. There you go, I can see it over there, well done. But it is very hard to team up. And if you want to team up, why not? Why does it have to be such a complicated process? So I filled in there like, can we make social Slayer a better experience or make it easier to team up? And I think it's somewhere along the lines in there. Have you found it? No?
I mean,
it's in the list. I was curious what status it was or what we wrote down exactly.
Just to give them an idea, what's the line number of the latest ninja fix? Just to give them an idea of how many things there are in the list. Not all of which are approved.
Yeah, so every year we basically start a new list because the list gets so long that the sheet just stops loading. But so we moved to Google Docs. But yeah, at the moment this one's on 489 suggestions. So it's quite a lot.
Thank you.
Have you ever released a ninja fix and then afterwards was like, I could have done better?
Oh yeah, all the time. I can.
Yep.
the one that comes straight to mind is like the action bar stuff. Like it's all well and good being able to pick all the styles, but like it was separate, so people wanted like a general category, like all ranged weapons, like change to this bar. So it's like could have done better there. Like, does that sort of answer your question? Or
it's the difference between do I want to get the fix next week or in a month?
yeah, like a lot of time sort of things. Like how demanded is it by players? Like should we try and get like what they want out, and then like layer it down the line, see like if we can try and make it better, or do we want to delay it off for a while and risk people being like, oh, Ninja team might not necessarily have seen it, like they don't really find it interesting, that sort of thing.
You can also think about sometimes we add something in area A, for example, the time of climb top, climb bottom in the Slater tower. Yes. But we also add that to the windmill, am I correct? Yes. So I'm just double checking. Don't want to make mistakes.
We did it everywhere.
Yeah. But so we do it everywhere. Like if people appreciate something and we're like, oh hey, we can also do that to another area. It's usually something we consider doing. So that's like for us like an improvement. I say like we don't see it first, but then once we hear about it, it's like, oh, that's a good idea. Let's do that on top of it.
It's like testing the waters essentially. Seems like people appreciate something big, then we could try and like spread it across the game world much better.
Yeah, and we end up sparking people's imaginations as well when we do ninja fixes. It's like, oh, thank you for that ninja fix, but what about this? And it's like, yeah, okay, sure, we'll do that as well. Why not? If it gets another ninja fix, then great. Anyone else?
Would it be a ninja fix to start slowly increasing the game world's size, as in scale theory? So like increasing the space between, let's say, Drainer and Falador to maybe fit more content in there, but do it like a piece at a time rather than the entire world at once?
So with ninja fixes, we tend to focus on small and easily achievable things that have high impact. Basically, like ripping apart the world and shoving more stuff in the middle is not a small task.
Yeah, you've already broken our rules of not involving other teams.
We do try to like patch old-looking areas. Like there was a big job for Mod AOB not long ago, just to try and like go over some dated-looking areas. So there was a big job for him to do with loads of pictures attached that we got from Reddit. And he went through them all and he smashed them all out. So the graphic side is definitely something we can look into, but sort of area reworks is a bit beyond Ninja.
It's a good suggestion, though.
Mm.
All right, how about increasing the size of the font in the chat box? I know a lot of people have trouble seeing their monitors from far away, and I think the only way now to change it is to change the resolution on your display.
At the moment, we're not really touching interfaces because of mobile. Like they are busy reworking all the interfaces anyway. So if we go and plug in there, this is tomorrow's issues.
It's a combination of like mobile. I don't necessarily think we fully support interface scaling as much as we'd like right now. Mobile is still very much a work in progress, as we're well aware. And fonts aren't what you might necessarily think is just easy text. In RuneScape, font is actually a sprite, it's an image. So when you stretch an image, it becomes a bit bad. To put it,
pixelated.
Yeah, a bit pixelated. So we wouldn't want to make it so it's like bigger, but then it's like you still have to squint to be able to like determine what the word is. So yeah, we want to get it supported like properly. So like text images would have proper anti-aliasing, so you'd be able to like read it properly.
But eventually, most of the interfaces are planned to be resizable, so they are working on it on a regular basis.
Thank you.
Just not our job.
Are there any fixes that you guys want to see that the players really haven't been paying all that much attention to, and you haven't gotten to work on it because of that?
I'd like to remove MacGruber's wood. That'd be great. It's a lot of trees. The thing is, we have the luxury of being able to put our ninja suggestions down on the sheet that we discuss. And there are some arguments sometimes in the room when I've put a ninja fix suggestion and no one everyone else agrees with it. and we sort of go back and forth and have a very nice discussion.
On that note, like sometimes like staff members will just put down ideas that they have that's like got no support from the player base, and it's just like entirely random. Like, let me make a kebab, and it's like,
we have a kebab.
Well, no, it was like a more extravagant kebab or something. It was in there. Yeah.
Yeah, Mod Days wanted the ability to add chopped onions and chopped kebabs to make kebab mix.
Oh yeah.
Why? I think he just had a kebab the night before, he said, and he thought, like, why wouldn't I want that?
I don't think we approved it.
No, it's definitely in the unapproved section.
So not even staff can get their ninja fixes through, don't worry. But yeah, I said, we're lucky. We can directly... And we do reject our own suggestions, so it's not like a boys' club.
It definitely has to have meaning to the players, not just an individual.
Hi. So you said you reworked the luck system? So before, in about 6-7 years ago, I could spec a goblin, and if everything was hitting 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, that was a clue scroll. How did you change that to the current system?
It's a very...
I don't think he wants to tell you the details, because that would be revealing everything.
Yeah.
We see what you did there.
Yeah.
Nice try.
Yeah, I'm not going to answer that one. Anything else but the luck rework? Yeah, sure. Except for Hazel Missing Moon's drop rate. No.
Is there anything that players suggest often, but you're like, no, we're not going to do that. That would be horrible.
Agility earns. Makes no sense.
I mean, it used to be the Omni Grigri that we used to get every week, and we said, why? I know it's bank space, but like it was a lot of work for us, and we were like, we did it eventually, right?
Yeah, we did it.
So there you go. It does work. We eventually pushed the priority up high enough.
Yeah, if you pass the 500 upvote threshold on Reddit on the list.
Don't encourage them to nag. What? No, I'm kidding. It's true.
But I don't think we have that many recurring suggestions that we sort of just dismiss these days.
No.
It's not a ninja fix. Or sailing urns? What? Any more questions? Oh.
You mentioned Social Slayer earlier. Any chance Iron Man can get on that action?
Well, if we can say a little bit about this, like, don't expect anything anytime soon. But we've got a combat council. We've had that for a while. We've got a lore council, right? Yes, and we've recently started to organise with all our fellow JMods that really love Iron Man as well, and we've got our Iron Man council. So we're still setting up. So we hope to potentially do something in the future, or at least make sure that content that comes out is very nice for Iron Man, instead of missing out half of the fun. But how that will turn out and how that will look, we don't know. But I'd like to think it's a step in the right direction. I hope that answers your question a bit.
If you can find Mod Ramen, he would be the best person to ask.
He'll be very happy with that as well. He loves Iron Man.
I love this dead air, it's great.
Can we have the ability to maybe dye more items so that they'll work with presets? I mean, one thing's like the rune pouch, and I'm forever turning up with the wrong rune pouch and stuff like that.
Rune pouch is done. Mod Mayley's worked on it.
Yeah, it's done. It just needs testing.
Yeah, it needs testing. It's a bit of a large change because it's a lot of new items. Interacts with core magic quite a bit. So we'll make sure it works, doesn't screw your runes and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely something we want. With Danny, sorry.
Yeah.
There's also a new item revealed at 5 o'clock that I'm revealing that is also recolorable that you can get two of. So yeah, there's a teaser for you.
Sorry, I've got a list of 3 here. Is it possible?
Is this from your Twitter or something?
No. This is my ideas. Is it possible so that when you're looting something and your loot all interface comes up, that combat does not interrupt it? Because at the moment you just stand there.
So we've changed this like 3 times now,
Yeah.
right?
Do you mean so you continue retaliating?
Yes.
Yeah. So on loot release, that was like the biggest complaint ever, that people would get ran away from like their loot, and it's really conflicting. So it potentially sounds like a toggle.
Okay, brilliant. Next one is it possible if you loot all, some of your drops will go straight to your familiar instead of you manually putting it there yourself?
I think we could probably have that on a tick, like another toggle.
Yeah. Again, it sounds like another toggle.
Do you guys like toggles?
Yeah. It's almost like we made a whole interface for it.
And finally, I'm not an Iron Man, by the way. Can we please have an auto cooker for invention?
What, sorry?
An auto cooker for invention. Is it possible?
It's called a machine. You can
Invention.
assemble stuff.
Sorry, I'm getting auto cooker from something else. Can we get an invention machine for cooking?
That wouldn't be a ninja fix, I don't think. That would be an update of its own, I reckon.
Yeah, I don't
It
seem
sounds
very
quite
keen.
big. I mean, we can always suggest it for people who want a suggestion, but it's unlikely to come from our team.
Yeah, the balancer in me doesn't really like that suggestion.
So that's another thing to point out is that even if we say when we're reviewing ninja suggestions, even if it's like, oh, we're not going to do that as a ninja fix, we do sometimes pass them on to the relevant team, and it will eventually just become an update.
Thank you.
In the Invention Guild, you've got the machines, and you can build a certain amount of them at one time because they take up energy. Would it be possible to allow us to build in every slot, but just toggle off the machines so that they don't use up the power?
I mean, I know the guys that made machines looked into it and they couldn't get it to work. So I guess no. It's not really a no from us, but it's a no from those guys.
I imagine it's probably something they considered, so you don't have to keep rotating machines. There's probably some balancing behind it as to like resources and like convenience and things like that. But yeah, probably not something we'll look to do, I'm afraid.
When you have your legendary pets out, is there a way that you can specify your items that the familiar can pick up?
What, sorry?
Nowadays it's like just a category, and I would like to see that you could put like specific item that it picks up, so prioritizes that item or something like that. Is that possible or not?
It's possible. It will probably require like a decent sized settings window to be able to like for you to pick what you want like your familiar to be picking up and that sort of thing. Similar to like the loot interface, like it's got its own sort of area where you have like configuration for it.
Hello, I am an Iron Man, by the way.
Excellent.
Nice.
Is there any way Iron Man could be allowed to do sinkholes, or is that not classed as a ninja fix?
I mean, that is literally social content. So, no. What? Yeah, there's an argument that PVM is more core to the game than sinkholes. Go do engineering, it's great.
Like, I think this is a beautiful example of where we, as JackX or as RuneScape development, can look into. Is like what is like the clear line. What should an Iron Man get access to and what not? Like I find a beautiful example of like, well, this is part of it. This is not. Where's that line? And we hope that we can find that with that campus at some point.
I joke around, but we probably do need clearer restrictions, not restrictions, clearer guidelines on what is and shouldn't be Iron Man content. I'm of the opinion that sinkholes shouldn't be Iron Man content, but that won't always be the case.
Why do you want to do sinkholes as an Iron Man?
XP.
But as an Iron Man, don't you want things to be challenging?
I don't like solo engineering.
That's fine. No, but genuinely, I want to know, like, if someone's saying to us, like, can Iron Man be able to do this? Like, I almost want, like, a compelling reason for it, as opposed to, like, I'll just do it, you know? Because, yeah, like Timbo mentioned, like, we should have good guidelines in place for Iron Man to be able to determine, like, yeah, that's reasonable for Iron Man to be doing, or, like, no, it's defeating, like, the core aspect of Iron Man.
Thank you.
Going back to the legendary pet thing you were saying, would it be possible to have a setting basically so the pet just picks up whatever casts a loot beam?
Yeah, again, that would cover or come under a configure sort of settings window if we were to like implement that.
So, as a question from obviously updates of different sizes for ninja fixes, what's like the minimum time you can get something out from suggesting it to testing it to releasing it?
Recently, we did the settings window being open in combat. That was a big complaint from the settings window sort of redesign. Initially, that is to support mobile. There is many reasons why we did it. We didn't just do it just like, oh, let's change it. So yeah, that was a top complaint. So we asked Mod Hunter like, how quickly can we sort of like turn this around, get it done? He did it within like an hour. Mod Hunter is like a beast. So we got that done. We got it tested, put it into like our release candidate build, and it should be uploaded next week, I think it is, or is it released now? I've lost track of time.
But yeah, the quickest turnaround time we can get is a week. It probably should be 2 weeks, but yeah, we can get it done in a week. If it's a super high priority, like Harrison said, the combat settings was a big deal. This week? Last week? What day is it? We can get out as soon as we possibly can. Obviously, it requires a game update and not like a hotfix, but yeah.
Assuming that it's a ninja fix, like an actual ninja fix. If it's a bug fix, actually, depending on the type of code, the turnaround can be like several minutes. Yeah. Just a few minutes. Like, we just fix it and it goes straight into the game. We hotfix it. But that's not going to happen on a day-to-day basis with ninja fixes.
Any more? You can do it, Mod Lion.
This is a quick follow-up from that question. What is the defining line between a hotfix and a ninja fix? So a fix that will require an update back or can be injected live.
I don't want to bore you with the technicality. God damn it, Harrison.
Yeah, so there's a very sort of like distinct line for, it's mostly QA kind of make like the final call on it. So hotfix would basically be like, is this really detrimental to the game and a gameplay experience? So like, if you're doing something and like it's generating wealth or XP and things like that, then we obviously would look to hotfix it because it's game breaking, it's damaging. Ninja fix, we probably would never look to hotfix it really. It really sort of depends on like what the issue is. I think the best example I can give of that, it was when we did something to presets. You could drag, or you couldn't drag them anymore. And you can toggle like which ones are on which keybind. And that was like, presets are very core to the game. Like everyone uses them for player versus monster. So we tried to like do that one as like a special sort of exception. Hopefully that answers your question.
Any more for any more? No, no.
Hi, can we have a miscellaneous rework? Like,
what do you have in mind?
Like they could do more things than just chop wood and make planks. Like they could gather energy for us, stuff like that.
Are you an Iron Man? Oh, okay. Just checking.
Maybe.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things. It's like,
Mod Maylea's writing it down. So.
Yeah, is it one of those things that people are like, do they really want it? Like, if we said, yeah, miscellaneous rework in like reveals, for example, we have one person, you know. So it's like, yeah, is it something that's really worth like? If we were to do a miscellaneous rework, we'd have to like look into like the actual area because it's quite dated again. Like, if we're going to be forcing players to go and visit it. Do they want to see this dated content? There's still a lot to it, and there's like, again, balancing behind like what we add, being able to like add favor, is it? I think it is, to like, or your reputation or whatever it is. Yeah, favor. So yeah, those sorts of things.
The one thing I can guarantee is that it wouldn't give you lots of divine energy. Good? Oh, no, no.
The graphical glitches that are occurring when you use a lodestone network at the moment, where the game world basically either the textures don't load and it just looks all black and it starts flashing. Is that something that would be worked on by the Ninja team, or is that for something else?
That's done by our tech team. We solely focus on sort of content updates. The blackness that you're experiencing is definitely an issue. It's probably been around, I think, for a while now, so it's a tricky one for the tech team to be like narrowing down. Obviously, their priorities change week to week as we release new builds, so different things can arise. But it's definitely something we know about. So yeah, we can try and bring it up again for you, make sure get an update out.
Just with regards to the texture thing, like I know that some engine people are looking into seeing if there's like a better way to approach that. But obviously, engine have a lot on their plate, so.
Like mobile. Oh. We believe in you.
Got to remember it now. Do you guys have a like a set time in your day as kind of gameplay time for brainstorming different ideas? So, or do you do that at work hours?
It's probably a bit of both. I'd say like we've pushed members of staff to like try and get familiar with the game, play different sorts of areas towards it, and like if they find something that's essentially like could be better, you know, this is what our team's supposed to be doing. So we highly encourage them to like write them down as they're playing and then send it all over to us, or like write it down as they're going along, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're lucky in the Ninja team that a lot of us are big players of the game. I'm maxed.
I'm maxed.
He's maxed. Mod KOC is comped or trim comped, I can't remember which one.
I think he's almost Master Questscape as well.
Mod Hunter used to be a top 10 player. So like we have a lot of wealth of RuneScape experience. We play the game a lot. I think Mod Labcoat, you've been playing the game. Mod Bailey plays the game. You've been trying to play the game. So
I can play the game.
Trying to play the game.
I'm not trying it. I'm playing it. Okay.
You're playing it in a Dutch way. So he's trying to play the game. So we, as Harrison said, when we. You're right. As Harrison says, we're like when we're playing the game. I have a notepad next to Netflix while I'm playing the game, and I write down anything that annoys me or anything that comes to mind or anything I'm playing the game, anything that inspires me.
Yeah, it's definitely not an uncommon thing in the office for someone to be doing something and you'll hear like obscenities about it. Like I won't say it, but like, and then like we'll all go over. Like it's really not uncommon for people to be gathered around the desk, being like, what is going on here? I don't understand what you've done or like why this is being this way. Like that's essentially what our team's supposed to be doing, like making the flow of the game better and the experience better.
Well, what's the ninja fix that's taken the longest to complete, like from beginning to end?
Yeah, I've been working on all the really, really long ones. I mean, I've just completed one on the back end of the aura management things to stop it from breaking next time we had an aura, because otherwise it was going to collapse over, and that took me absolutely yonks.
Yeah, the aura is a prime example of sort of like add an aura, right? It's a bit more tricky.
No, it was going to like cancel all the favorites of certain types of auras, and it was just like, I looked at it and I was like, what? It's like, that's the thing when a piece of code gets passed around, and it's quite complicated in the first place. But it was an interesting challenge, and hopefully when the fix goes live, nothing will break. We're okay.
Yeah, we usually try to take the approach of like try and prototype a decent idea of it, see if it's like feasible, and if it's going to take like an excessive amount. Like I was mentioning earlier, like if it's going to take a long time and players are just going to be like bored or not care about it anymore, then you know, is it still worth us doing? So we should try and like get a good idea of what we're trying to do, like a design for it, basically.
And if, based on what you were saying, like that adding something new would break the Aura interface, are you aware that every time you add a new currency, it shifts everything in your currency favorites down one, so it breaks all your currency favorites?
I don't think we were aware about that.
It's because I think you've basically labelled everything from like 0 to like 50 or something, and then your favourites are basically just saved as like 7, 10, 11, and then your new one goes in the middle and then shifts everything up one. But it's reference card coded, I think. So your favourites are now pointed at the new positions.
You can tell I haven't looked at that piece of code.
You end up with a whole new. You end up with a whole load of favourites that aren't your favourites anymore.
I think Harrison's going to write it down.
I will write it down. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's happened about 3 times now.
2 more questions. Yeah, we've got 2 more questions left.
In Player of Farms, is it possible to get a barn or maybe like a back alley trader that you can sell like the animals for like a lower bean price or something, just to get rid of all the bunnies out of like banks?
I can do it.
I talked to Steve. Okay. No to the barn, but in terms of a trash seller, someone who will buy things for low values, me and Mod Rowley. It's hard. Me and Mod Rowley discussed a vendor that will buy things for like low rates, like 20-30% of what they should be worth. He wants to do a bunch of player on farm fixes anyway, so maybe that will come in the future. It won't come from Ninja, it will come from him. So it might take a little longer than we would normally do it. Last question?
No pressure.
Make it count.
Could you give this lad here a skateboard or some wheelies or something for next year?
I'm not sure it would be an improvement. He might fall over. No offense.
Maybe one more question?
Maybe.
No,
what do we prioritise in the more questions?
It's like we have to pick one now. Oh.
We did that. Oh, okay. So we got a question from Johnny Jumping Jacks, who said, when will you remove dead minigames? And I'm proud to announce that we are removing mobilizing armies from the game.
And the rewards from it will still be in the game, obtainable in other ways.
Obtainable in different ways, and the completions of cape requirement for mobilizing armies is being removed. That's a nice one to finish on, I think. So, thank you everyone for attending. If you want to come talk to any one of us...
Yeah, I've got my little booklet. If you have any ninja suggestions, I will write them down.
I need to run off the Golden Gnomes, but these guys will probably stick around here to talk to you guys. But yeah, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.